What is going on, everybody? Royal Rapids here, and welcome back to another Pokemon Fire Red solo run. Today we're back in the legendary game as we'll be taking on the box legendary of Pokemon Ruby, that being the ground type Groudon. Now, as you can see, Groudon has an absolutely ridiculous base stat total of 670, with base 150 attack, 140 defense, and just a mere 100 special attack to make use of moves like Flamethrower and Solar Beam. But before we get into this run, I do want to ask you guys if you could please subscribe. After checking my analytics, I found out that 95% of my viewers are not subscribed. And since we're over halfway to 1,000 subs, if you guys would just click that subscribe button, it would mean a whole lot to the channel. So the YouTuber cliche out of the way, let's get onto the run. After naming our Groudon Ruby after the game that he came from, we take on our rival for the first time, who I decided to give Squirtle. Now, obviously, this fight is not going to be an issue, as our base 670 Groudon with 150 base attack and a stab move in Mud Shot is easily able to eviscerate the turtle off the face of the planet, earning us our first victory of the run, after manipulating our Groudon to give it a neutral nature. As you can see, we already have absurd stats with 21 attack at level 5. But one issue with having legendary Pokemon, as I brought up in the Lugia run, is that they tend to gain experience much slower than your average Pokemon. So I decided to fight as many early game trainers as possible, including these bug catchers, as we want to at least be on par, or at least just a little bit below most major threats in the game. Because even if our stats are high on the base level, if we're like 10 levels below the opponent, we're going to have some trouble. So instead of 31 minutes, we save in front of Brock, and the Rock-type Gym Leader, which can be a wall to a lot of Pokemon, is up ahead. First off is Geodude, who gets knocked off the face of the earth with a Mud Shot. In comes Onix. A Mud Shot does about half. He lowers his speed, whiffs a Rock Throw, and one more Mud Shot earns us our first Kanto Gym Badge. Brock can be a wall to a lot of Pokemon with bad movesets early in the game, but Groudon has absolutely no issue defeating the Rock-type specialist and getting up Gym Badge. I elect to teach the TM for Rock Tomb to Groudon, because before this we couldn't actually hit flying types with our only attacking move being Mud Shot. But with Rock Tomb we make quick work of the flyers, while also learning Ancient Power, which although it has 5 PP, it does have a chance to give us an Omni Boost, which you don't want to rely on, but it can be nice in the right situation. After not telling you which fossil I get, I like to replace Scary Face with Mega Punch, as with base 90 speed and the badge boost, we shouldn't have issue outspeeding most of the threats in the game. Unfortunately for us, we have an example of not a threat here, as we take on rival number 2 here at Nugget Bridge. Although he does unfortunately get a Sand Attack, which is going to cause us to miss attacks, since we don't have any 100% accuracy moves at the moment. We do clean up the Pidgeotto with relative ease, leading into Squirtle, who after a Mega Punch wastes time with Withdraw, and a second one connects for the knockout. Abra, always a free KO, as it only has Teleport, leading into the weak Rattata, who hits a soft quick attack and gets eviscerated by one single Mud Shot, earning us the victory over rival number 2 and earning us the useless Fame Checker item, which I have never used. Before Misty, we save with an hour and 2 minutes and take on the Water-type Gym Leader, one which we have a weakness to. First up is Staryu, who's not much of a threat, as I go for Ancient Power, trying to fish for an Omni Boost. She goes for Harden, which means it'll be 2 more Ancient Powers to take it out, and even though we hit 3 Ancient Powers in a row, we do not get an Omni Boost from any of them. Starmie, it's a Water Pulse, which doesn't get a Confusion, but the second one does, and after we hit ourselves in Confusion again, that'll give us our first reset. Not that big of a deal though, as we clear Nugget Bridge, and finally get an 100% accuracy move in Slash before talking to Bill, picking up the SS ticket, and taking on Misty for a second time, this time at level 22. A single reliable Slash takes out Staryu, leading into Starmie. The sun is up, which means water moves are going to be doing less damage, and as we drop our speed with a Mud Shot, 1 second Mud Shot downs the Starmie and earns us an easy second Gym Badge. We did take a reset, but at a higher level, Groudon clears Misty at an hour and 21 minutes, earning us the right to head to Vermilion and go to the SS Anne. Much like Rival 2 before him, Rival 3 is also not an issue at all for Groudon, as one Rock Tomb polishes off Pidgeotto. Wartortle is taken down by a combination of Mud Shot and Slash, as he just wastes time with a Withdraw. Next up is Eradicate, and his final battle ends in a single Mud Shot Oko, leading into Kadabra, who has paper-thin defenses and gets folded by a Slash, getting us a damageless victory over the third rival fight and earning us the right to weirdly rub the captain's back and pick up the HM01 Cut, which grants us access to the Vermilion Gym and the Electric-type Gym Leader, Lieutenant Surge. Now, an hour and 44 minutes on the clock, this fight is absolutely free, as if you know Groudon, ground type, we are immune to his attacks, and a Mud Shot is going to absolutely embarrass his team of 3 electric types. Voltorb and Pikachu go down in 1 each, and after Raichu hits a stupidly low quick attack, 1 Mud Shot takes down the oversized Rat, and we pick up Gym Badge number 3, and also importantly, get the badge boost for speed. Before heading to Lavender Tower, we hit up the move tutor in Rock Tunnel, getting us the move Rock Slide on our moveset, as it is better than Rock Tomb in every way possible, so I'm happy to add it to the moveset. In Lavender Tower, though, we do take on rival number 4, which is our third rival battle in really quick succession. A single Rock Slide eviscerates Pidgeotto, leading into War Turtle as I like to go for Slash. A soft Water Gun connects for 10 damage before a second Slash polishes it off, leading into Execute. A Rock Slide almost takes it out, but it manages to hit a Hypnosis and also a couple Confusions in our face. Fortunately, Confusion's doing absolutely nothing, and we take it out with a second Slash, leading into Kadabra, who of course gets folded by a physical attack, leading into Growlithe. Growlithe is weak to rock, however, and one Rock Slide polishes off the puppy, giving us the victory over rival number 4 and earning us the right to head over to Celadon and take on Game Corner Giovanni. Now, obviously, this is the easiest Giovanni fight, so I don't expect much of a fight to be put up by him. We do miss a Mud Shot, however, but Onix has a whole 7 damage. We're getting taken down on the next turn. In comes a Rhyhorn as Mud Shot gets the 1-shot as we go to level 34, bring in Kangaskhan. Now, Kangaskhan can be kind of difficult as it has Fake Out, and also pretty solid stats for this point in the game. After a Mega Punch connects, we get a crit with Rock Slide, and one turn later, a single Slash takes out the Kangaskhan, earning us a victory over Giovanni for the first time and picking up the Silph Scope. After picking up the Silph Scope, we can teach Groudon the TM for Aerial Ace, as it's the only real reliable way that I have to hit Ghost types. I don't want to gamble on 90% accurate Rock Slide or 5 PP Ancient Power. So for the time being, I do elect to replace Slash, giving us a 60 power physical move, which should easily be able to one-shot every Channeler Ghastly. Well, in the Pokemon Tower, we learn our best move we have access to, being Earthquake at level 35, which will obviously be on our final moveset. Without further ado, though, we do polish off the Marowak with an Aerial Ace and Earthquake combo, which allows us to climb to the top and pick up the Pokeflute from Mr. Fuji. After this, we can clear the Snorlaxes out of the way and head to Silph Co., taking on rival number 5. We're pretty much at his level, even a little bit below now due to our experience group, meaning a Rock Slide doesn't quite take out Pidgeotto, but one more Aerial Ace to get the job done. Blastoise can actually do some pretty solid damage, but fortunately for us, he only has Water Gun. After missing a bunch of attacks and hitting into Protects, we finally polish him off with an Earthquake, leading to Execute. And Aerial Ace does pretty big damage, but we unfortunately do get paralyzed by Stun Spore. Still have 91 HP heading into Alakazam as he goes for a Calm Mind, which could be dangerous, but we snap out of Confusion and drill an Earthquake for the KO, leaving just Growlithe, who, even though Flame Wheel does pretty big damage in the sun, we break through Paralysis and one final Earthquake. Finishes off the Growlithe, earning us our victory over rival number 5 and earning us the right to pick up the Lapras for HMs and take on the final Giovanni fight of the Rocket subplot. Kind of funny that we're still pre-Badge 3 and we've done the entire Rocket subplot, but all jokes aside, we can polish off Nidorino with Aerial Ace for some reason instead of Earthquake. Didn't really matter because we only took 5 damage. We do big damage into Kangaskhan with an Earthquake, and one more Aerial Ace finishes the job, leading into Rhyhorn. The unevolved Mon goes down to a single super effective Earthquake, leading to Nidoqueen, who suffers the same fate. And just like that, with only 3 badges and at level 38, we finish off the Rocket subplot and pick up the Master Ball, which obviously is completely useless in a solo run. The reason I did this, though, is to get as many levels as I could to take on Erica, who does actually have a type advantage against us, with her being Grass type against our Ground type Groudon. Fortunately for us, though, we did learn Aerial Ace and our monster-based 150 attack and level advantage is going to come in clutch here. We don't even go for it, though, as Earthquake is neutral against both Victoryville and Vileplume, picking up 1-shots, growing to level 41, and taking on Tangela, who's a mere level 24, and gets annihilated by an Aerial Ace, picking up badge number 4. One of my other favorite things about the Kanto games here is if you do the Rocket subplot early, you can take on a big boss gauntlet of gym leaders in a row as we take on the Psychic type user Sabrina next. 339 on the clock and 4 gym badges as badge number 5 is officially underway. First up is Kadabra, who obviously goes down to a single Aerial Ace as all our Psychic types have really bad defense. In comes Mr. Mime and an Earthquake gets the job done, leading into Venomoth, who's not a Psychic type but is weak to flying as one more Aerial Ace goes to level 42 after the knockout. Alakazam comes in and has a 1 level advantage, but we outspeed through the badge boost, and one Earthquake takes down the Alakazam and earns us a very, very easy 5th gym badge over the Psychic user Sabrina. Taking a little break from the gym gauntlet, I do like to clear out the Snorlaxes in front of Cycling Road and also the route near Lavender Town before taking on Koga with 409 on the clock to pick up gym badge number 6. He's a poison type user, but he does have Levitate on his coughing and wheezing, so we can't use Earthquake on him. 2 Aerial Aces do finish off the coughing, leading into Muck, who we can Earthquake. For some reason I go to my bag for a second, which wastes time, but whatever, an Earthquake gets the job done. In comes Coughing, which Rock Slide is pretty good damage, and we get Toxic. So if we miss attacks on Wheezing, we actually could be in some trouble. Ancient Power doesn't get the Omni Boost, which I've still kept my moveset up to this point, and he starts hitting smoke screens in our face, meaning this could get bad, but Aerial Ace does just enough damage, which can't miss, obviously, to earn us gym badge number 6, and earning us the right to head over to Cinnabar Island and take on the Fire-type user Blaine. Before that, though, in the Pokemon Mansion, we do pick up Solar Beam, which, thanks to our Drought ability, is always going to be a 1-turn move in the sun. And with our base 100 special attack and the Sabrina badge boost, we should be doing some pretty big damage. We finally get rid of Ancient Power and get a special attacking coverage move in the Grass type Solar Beam. After saving the game in front of Blaine with 4:33 on the clock, it is time to take on the Fire type Specialist for Gym Badge number 7. First up is Growlithe, who hits an Intimidate in our face, unfortunately, but an Earthquake, due to our monster attack stat, gets the job done against the unevolved puppy. In comes the undersized horse, as one Earthquake gets the job done there, leading to the oversized horse and Rapidash, who another Earthquake gets the job done against. I like to not learn Fire Blast, as we're going to get the TM after this gym anyways, but the second Intimidate from Arcanine hits. Still, we almost get the one-shot, showing how good of a Pokemon Groudon is, and after a couple heal locks, eventually we do polish off the Arcanine, earning us a victory over Blaine and picking up Gym Badge number 7 with, as the aforementioned, TM45 Fire Blast to add to our moveset potentially later on. Next up is Giovanni, the Ground-type Specialist, who's an absolute joke against special attackers, and hey, Groudon, Loki a special attacker now with Solar Beam as we overkill the Rhydon, overkill the 35 HP Dugtrio. In comes Nidoqueen, Earthquake, easy one-shot, leading into his next Pokemon being Nidoking, obviously weak to ground, easy one-shot. Last but not least is another unevolved Rhyhorn who gets Solar Beamed into the Shadow Realm as we get a damageless 8th Gym Badge over the absolute joke of Kanto, Giovanni. Next up is going to be the rival, though, which can always be a pretty difficult fight due to his varied team, and we'll see how that goes now. Unfortunately, due to our level kind of catching up to us at this point, we can't one-shot it with Rock Slide, allowing Pidgeot to unfortunately get a Sand Attack off. Blastoise also has access to Rain Dance, which gets rid of our Drought Sun, meaning that we're forced to stay in and take Rain-boosted Water Guns. At level 48, we have 57 HP leading to Execute, who we don't even do much to with Aerial Ace. He misses the Stun Spore, unfortunately, but the second one does connect. And after he just goes for a charged Solar Beam, we do eventually take him out. In comes Growlithe, and a Flame Wheel does a little bit of damage when we polish it off with an Earthquake. But since we can't do one-turn Solar Beams, that allows a Rhydon of all Pokemon to take us out. Unfortunate, but whatever. There's not really much we can do here. We're going to just try to get luckier with Sand Attack and Rain Dance. Attempt number 2, we get a flinch on Pidgeot, allowing us to not get Sand Attacked and take it out with an Aerial Ace, leading into Blastoids. We go for a Solar Beam as he does unfortunately set up Rain Dance, but an Earthquake from here does get the job done, leading into Execute. Aerial Ace gets a little bit of a better range this time, allowing us to take it out in one more hit, leading into Growlithe, and Intimidate does unfortunately affect us, but we can take out the unevolved puppy with a single Earthquake, leading into Rhyhorn, who suffers the same fate. Last but not least is Paper Thin Defense Alakazam, who goes out in a single Earthquake, this time getting us a damageless victory over the rival. Sometimes RNG just gotta be in your favor in these runs. In the Pokemon League, we save our game with 5:29 on the clock, looking at our level 52 Groudon. 185 attack is monster. It can Aerial Ace, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Solar Beam. Without further ado, the Elite Four Gauntlet lies ahead. First up is the Ice-type user Lorelei. Now, one annoying thing that she has access to is the fact that all of her Pokemon have the ability to set up Hail. And if you know anything about that, that resets our Sun, meaning we can no longer fire off one-turn Solar Beams into her Water types. Since Cloyster here has access to Protect, we have to go for 2-turn Solar Beams, meaning he can Protect on the turn that we're able to fire off Solar Beam. Due to his really good physical defense too, Aerial Ace, Earthquake, and Rock Slide are all going to do minimal damage, meaning I have to rely on charging Solar Beams. But as I said earlier, it's not going to be easy to do that. Fortunately, he just wastes time going for Spikes, but after he keeps nailing attacks into his Protects, the Hail is wearing down on us, meaning that we're only at 104 HP after the level up heading into Slowbro. And Slowbro obviously being a bulky water, even though we crit with a Rock Slide, one Surf is able to get the job done, meaning we take our 3rd reset of the run here at Lorelei. I do have the TM Shockwave from Lieutenant Surge, so I replace Aerial Ace with it as it gives us a special attacking super effective option into her water types, and attempt number 2 versus Lorelei is underway. She leads with Dugong, who of course likes to set up Hail, so I go for my 1-turn Solar Beam before she sets it up, meaning that she is in range for a single Earthquake to take out the water type, leading into Cloyster. I go for Solar Beam for some reason, even though I got Shockwave specifically for this moment. And due to Cloyster's pretty bad special defense, it would do pretty solid damage. For some reason, though, I just absolutely refuse to go for a Shockwave, going for Solar Beam instead, before finally waking up and drilling the Clam with one single Shockwave for the victory. In comes Slowbro, and I go for Earthquake, which gets the 2-shot. Then goes with 148 HP going into Jinx, and Earthquake gets the 1-shot cleanly, leading into her final Pokemon, Lapras. We're under-leveled versus it. We get a lucky crit before getting confused, and Lapras here with its Citrus Berry. However, a Surf leaves us with 42 HP. We get some Oran Berry recovery and a second Earthquake. Downs the Loch Ness Monster, earning us a victory over Lorelei on attempt number 2. Next up is Bruno, who doesn't have a good reputation in the Kanto games. He leads up with an absolutely horrendous Onix, who gets down by a 1-turn Solar Beam. In comes the second Onix, and guess what? He awaits the same fate. Now his 3 fighting types are up next. First up is Hitmonchan, but a single Earthquake eviscerates the Boxer, leading into Hitmonlee, who also follows the same fate as we go to level 54, and in comes Machamp. Now Machamp does have a 2-level advantage on us, but I think it's wasting time going for a Scary Face and a Cross Chop. 2 Earthquakes get the job done. We easily pummel Bruno into the ground, getting our second Elite Four victory. Next up is Agatha, who can kind of be a lottery depending on what kind of luck you get in this fight, since she has Hypnosis on a lot of our Pokemon. First up is Gengar, who obviously is immune to Earthquake, meaning we're supposed to go for a Rock Slide, but a single critical hit takes out the Ghost, leading into Golbat. Golbat, weak to Rock, almost gets one shot before hitting a soft Air Cutter. Also weak to Shockwave, and since that can't miss, 2 of those get the job done, downing our second Pokemon, leading into the Haunter. Also has Levitate, so we cannot go for Earthquake. I decided to go for Shockwave and Rock Slide. However, we do unfortunately miss a Rock Slide before our second connects and takes down the Haunter, leading into our second Gengar. We do get put to sleep, but our Chesto Berry heals us out of the sleep, fortunately enough, allowing us to nail a couple Rock Slides in the Ghost's face before Agatha goes for a full restore. A Shockwave connects as we get put to sleep by a Hypnosis, and Shadow Ball does minimal damage before we get a 1-turn Wake Up, allowing us to take out the Gengar with 2 more Rock Slides, growing to level 55 and taking on Arbok. The Intimidate does hit, but due to our monster attack stat and stab and the critical hit, we one-shot the Arbok, picking up our second straight first try Elite Four victory. Now, outside of our first mishap against Lorelei, the Elite Four's been pretty easy thus far. Unfortunately, Lance is going to bring a whole new challenge. He leads off with his intimidating Gyarados. Now, fortunately for us, we do have quad effective Shockwave, and his attacking options aren't great as he hits a pretty soft special bite, allowing us to take him down with a few more Shockwaves after the full restore. And comes Aerodactyl, who does actually outspeed us naturally, meaning he's going to be doing some solid damage with the Wing Attack. And also, we have to actually hit our Rock Slides, which fortunately we do, downing the Aerodactyl. And it comes Dragonite, but I realize we're out of Rock Slide PP, meaning that we're forced to go for Shockwave, which is doing absolutely nothing, and Dragonite polishes off with an Outrage. Next attempt versus Lance, I decide to heal up my power points. I do still have a max elixir left over. And once again, Gyarados does pretty much suffer the same fate as a couple Shockwaves get the job done, but unfortunately he does not waste his Hyper Potion since we got a lesser range this time. In comes Aerodactyl, who can outspeed and does pretty solid damage with Wing Attack, leaving us with 124 HP going into Dragonite. Rock Slide just not doing enough damage, and a critical hit. Outrage downs our Groudon, meaning that we take another reset versus Lance. Now, I decided to use the rare candies I picked up throughout the run to elevate our Groudon to a slightly higher level 59, meaning we'll get hopefully better damage ranges this time. Now, attempt number 3 versus Lance. We now have a significant level advantage on Gyarados, but we still don't have enough power to get the one-shot. He's going for Dragon Rage, which seems to be doing more damage than Bite, unfortunately, meaning that we do take a tad bit more than we had in the previous fights. And it comes Aerodactyl, but I equipped the Quick Claw, hoping that we can get a proc versus it, trying to get less damage. That doesn't actually end up happening, unfortunately, and Aerodactyl hits multiple Wing Attacks on our face, leaving us at less than half HP. In comes Dragonite, who are still lower leveled than, but this time he wastes time going for Safeguard. But unfortunately, since we miss a Rock Slide, a couple Outrages get the job done, and we lose a third time versus Lance. We have now more than doubled our resets at this point, as finally, let's see what we can do here. Gyarados hits off a Dragon Rage, and it's much like the other fights. We just Shockwave it down, hopefully wasting a Hyper Potion in the process. Next up is going to be our good friend Aerodactyl as we try to get Quick Claw procs. We unfortunately don't, but Rock Slide appears to be a 2-shot here, and we have a solid 124 HP to head into the Dragonite. Rock Slide is pretty good damage as he wastes time with a Safeguard. Hopefully if we can get a flinch, that would be good, but hey, he misses Hyper Beam, meaning that one more Rock Slide gets the job done. All we needed was bad AI, and that's what we got. Dragon Rage connects for some solid damage against us, but Earthquake is going to be a 2-shot against the Dragonair, and after a Hyper Potion, we do finally get that range. Last but not least is his final Dragonair, who just wastes time with Safeguard, and finally, thanks to bad AI, we get past Lance and earn the right to take on the champion to finally finish this run and see if Groudon can clock in with a better time than Lugia. Before the fight, though, I do elect to teach Fire Blast in place of Shockwave, as I think it'll be more useful into the final fight, especially against Exeggutor. The run all comes down to this. Groudon with 5 resets, a little short of 6 hours. It seems to be performing better than Lugia, but let's see how it does against Blue here in the champion fight. First up is Pidgeot as we miss a Rock Slide and then get Sand Attacked. And at this point, we're screwed. We're at -2 accuracy. We miss another Rock Slide. We finally hit one, but then we get to -2 attack due to Feather Dance, and this fight is basically all but over. There's no reason to continue, so I'm just going to reset and take number 6. Next up, we need to try to get better luck here as Rock Slide gets a clutch flinch, allowing him to go for a full restore. But as long as we hit our Rock Slides, we will get past Pidgeot without taking any damage, and the 1-turn Solar Beam has just enough power to get the job done. I decline to learn Fissure as it's not anywhere near reliable enough as Blastoise comes in, but unfortunately for us, he sets up the rain, meaning we do not have our Sun for the rest of the fight. An Earthquake is enough to get the job done, but Exeggutor is going to be a tough takedown without the Sun boosting our Fire Blast, meaning we have to get lucky and dodge some attacks like Sleep Powder. We did have a Chesto Berry just in case, case, but Executor is blind and whiffs his sleep powder, allowing us to move on to Alakazam, whose paper-thin defenses means he goes down to a single Earthquake. Rhydon follows the same fate, Arcanine is weak to ground, and even after the Intimidate, Groudon's monster attack stat is enough to get the job done, as Groudon clears the game at level 60 with 6 resets and a little short of 6 hours, I want to say. The game was an absolute breeze up until the Elite Four, which the slow growth rate at our lower level did lead us to having some trouble against Lorelei, especially Lance, and eventually the champion. 6 hours and 10 minutes is the final time, clearing Lugia and putting Groudon atop the throne of legendaries for now. I want to thank you guys for watching this video so much. These legendary solo runs are really fun for me, and it's kind of fun to use Pokemon Fire Red as sort of an arena to see what legendaries perform the best in a main series playthrough. Now, obviously, these Pokemon aren't meant to be used in the main story, so their level up movesets tend to be a little bit wonky, and their experience growth rate tends to be a little bit low. But I think that adds to the challenge and makes it not an absolute cakewalk, especially once you get to the Elite Four, meaning that the strategy isn't just over level. You can be at the level roughly of the Elite Four member and try to come up with a legitimate strategy using the Pokemon that you have to get past the fight in a timely manner. So once again, I do want to thank you guys for watching. If you could please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, it would appreciate me a lot. I want to get to 1,000 subs before the end of the year. Since we're over halfway there, I think we can get it done. So I cannot thank you guys enough for enjoying this content, and I will see you guys in whatever comes next. Hardcore Nuzlocke, solo run, maybe something else. Stay tuned.